Alright, hello everyone. Today I'm going to be doing a video on Apex once again, and today's video is going to be on Valkyrie. I know I made a video before on Valkyrie, but this one's going to be more specific about like how even after these changes, I know that the update hasn't even came out yet, but I already know what it's going to be like. Even after the changes with Valkyrie, I feel like there's still a big problem with the actual class that's just been put in. So if you guys don't know, Valkyrie's basically been moved into the Skirmisher class. And as we see by these patch notes here, there's a lot of buffs to her abilities, mainly the tactical and the jetpack. So, first of all, the jetpack can basically now scan people when you are using it, which I think is actually really cool. I really like that change because if we are going to be moving Valkyrie to the Recon class, she needs to have some recon potential that other characters don't really already have, and I like that. The fact that you don't have your weapon out, and you essentially, because you don't have your weapon out, you are essentially scanning people in the sky, so you get like an overhead, kind of like a crypto drone type of action going on there. Um, just to get a little bit of surveillance on the enemies whilst you're in a good position, so you can get the drop on the enemies from a different position. It's actually really cool. It's like a nice little balance between a movement character and a recon character. However, what I don't agree with is all the other buffs to the jetpack that were basically made. And basically, like the jetpack UI has a refuel delay timer. That's all cool and everything. I think that's pretty good actually. But then you have more jetpack handling that feels similar to the release, basically making it so the jetpack is easier to control, get to where you want to go, which improves the skirmisher ability. And you also have one of the upgrades as well called Fuel Tank, which also includes a 50% reduction in refuel delay. So basically, you only have to wait 4 seconds rather than 8 seconds for your fuel to start recharging again, which is once again going to make it so you can use your jetpack more often, making her more of a skirmisher legend. Now, in my opinion, I do like this change in a way because I have recently just played every single skirmisher character in Apex, like a game each, and I do actually have to agree that Valkyrie doesn't exactly fit in, mainly because she doesn't have like the micro repositioning. Not rotation. She has the rotation. Don't believe me. She has the fucking rotation ability, but the micro repositioning, she doesn't really have that much. Things like Wraith's tactical to get into a fight, Pathfinder's grapple to get into a fight. Revenant's tactical as well. Other characters like 𝗏𝗏's tactical. That's all these tacticals and stuff are meant to be used to get yourself into a fight, to reposition in the middle of a fight. Whereas Valkyrie, like the jetpack, yes, it can be used to reposition in the middle of a fight, but realistically, it doesn't really do that. Whereas now, because they're buffing it, it really does it. And that's my problem, is that they're basically making her now more of a skirmisher character than what she was before. I would say currently in Apex, without this update, Valkyrie isn't actually a full skirmisher because that jetpack doesn't really offer the same as the other skirmishers, which kind of lends it to, yeah, let's move it to the recon class. But then buffing her jetpack, that's like the wrong thing to do. to buff it, to basically make it so you can have it more, so that it's better as well, just doesn't make sense. The rest of the changes I actually do agree with, improving the tactical. I think it's great, and a lot of people might think, oh, well, isn't that just making her an assault character? And to that, I say, not really, because we have had some crossovers with other classes, quite a lot, but my big issue with the skirmisher class is that she has two abilities that are skirmisher related. The jetpack for micro repositioning, and then the ultimate for rotations. You see quite a lot of characters in the skirmisher class have this same stuff. Wraith's portal for the rotations, Pathfinder's grapple, zipline, sorry, for the rotations. Once again, 𝗏𝗏's ultimate. You can also use that as a rotation after you finish a fight to go back to where you came from. There's quite a lot, honestly. A lot of characters that have them type of effects in the skirmisher class, and Valkyrie's does too. So that's why she's been put in that class for so long. But now we see that nothing's actually been changed with the abilities like the ultimate. It's not been nerfed. It's actually probably been buffed with the upgrade that basically you allow to see enemies through walls when you're skydiving. So that actually buffs the ultimate. Now, of course, it's buffing it in the recon direction, which is great. I think that's a better buff to have. That's the proper way to do it, really. But I do think that we need to reduce some of the skirmisher potential. It's great that the buffed attack, and you can see all the different buffs there in the middle. Because, you know, we do have some crossovers with other classes, with some legends, so it's great that she has some assault capability there. A lot of the previous skirmisher characters don't, and a lot of the current recon characters don't either, so it's nice that she has like some unique potential there. But the problem is that now we're embedding 3 different classes into this one character. Who needs to play an assault character, really, when you can just play a Valkyrie and have the damage, you have the movement, you have the rotations, and you have scanning as well. You have all of it in one character, and probably some of the best perks on one character as well. So obviously this needs to be controlled a little bit, and that's why I want to bring up this right here. If you guys can remember back in Season 14, before we even had the class rework 2 years ago, there was basically a whole leak that Valkyrie's class was going to get changed from Recon to Assault, which obviously eventually did happen when we had the class rework, but instead of getting changed to Assault, it was changed to Skirmisher. And of course that meant we couldn't scan survey beacons, but that one right there no longer scans enemies. That was not removed because she was actually just given them as well, which is pretty mad, even though she was a skirmisher legend. I don't think any of the other stuff here actually did change. I do believe she did actually get a nerf around this time, but I can't remember what it was. And then it also says reduce the skyward dive height to 90 meters, which is significantly lower than what it is currently. In my opinion, I actually agree with this. I think reducing the height of the ultimate is actually a pretty good way to go about it. Or, in my opinion, I would like to have it similar to the revive feature in the new revival mode, where you have like a little green dot on the map, and you can't go past that green dot, otherwise you'll hit like a barrier. That would be like kind of my solution, is like you would go up however far, and then you scan all the enemies in the area, and then reposition yourself within that green circle. So it's no longer used as a rotation ability, it's actually going to be used as a more of a reposition ability, mainly for a recon surveillance of the entire area to know where people are. That's how I would envision the new ultimate. Obviously as well, because it's got a lot less power, I would obviously reduce the cooldown so you can actually do it more often. And I don't know whether it would be wise to make it so the ultimate's only going to be used by one person. You know, it would be pretty interesting to see how that would work, but we'll see. But another big thing, obviously, is I would probably revert the jetpack changes that they've done. Obviously, the little ones like the recon dots and everything, that can stay because that actually makes her a recon character, I would say. And also like the little like refuel delay thing, that can stay as well. But little things like making it so she can use the jetpack more, making it so it's easier to handle and stuff like that, I don't agree with that. I think the jetpack's actually in a good spot right now for a character that isn't a skirmisher character anymore. Now you might be thinking, what's the big issue? And the big issue is that a recon character can basically take the role of 3 different classes right now at the same time. A recon, obviously, a skirmisher with all of her movement and rotation ability, so you don't need a skirmisher on the team, and also assault as well, because she has that tactical that does quite a lot of damage, similar to a fuse metal cluster and things like that. So a lot of the best abilities on some legends in some classes, Valkyrie just kind of has all of them. So it's like Valkyrie is definitely going to be picked a lot in not just, you know, pubs and ranked, but probably also ELGS as well. She's definitely going to be back in ELGS, and I think like it's going to make a massive issue because no one's going to play any other skirmisher, no one's going to play any other recon, no one's going to play any other assault. You're just going to use a Valkyrie. So them 3 classes are going to be completely out the window. No one's going to use them. You're just going to probably use a Newcastle and like a Watson or something, like a controller and a support potentially. Or of course, if there's any other OP characters still in the game, in them other classes, you could just use them as well, in addition to Valkyrie, that already has them characteristics. So I'll let you hear what you guys think about all this. But yeah, I'll see you guys next video. Bye then.